Hey, thanks again for watching Revelations. It's a series on evangelism and discipleship. We're visiting Johann Gauss, who's the president for Hope Builders Ministries. Discipleship, big word. That really means teaching obedience. It means becoming more like Christ. How do you guys approach that?
The way that we approach that is on a mentored basis, on a one-on-one mentored basis. Like Billy Graham once said, and I really found that tremendous. He said, I don't do mass evangelism. I do one-on-one evangelism on a massive scale. And this is the way that we go about it. There's a mentored situation. There's a mentor and a trainee, an apprentice that gets into the disciple-making process. So it's a very personal sharing. One of the things that we do have as a major problem is the shortage of Bibles. It is estimated that there are some 400 million Christians on the African continent, and about 200 million of them don't have access to a Bible.
They don't have a sword?
No, they don't.
They need a sword.
They need it. That's why we started a program called Bibles for Believers, and we don't use the Bible there as an evangelism tool. We use it in the disciple-making role with the Bible and some pictures, because we're dealing with people who are only semi-literate in many cases, and to help those who are non-readers, we do reproduce the gospel in the form of pictures and in the form of stories. Their retention ability has been honed to the point where if they hear a story at a seminar, at a conference, they will give it back to you verbatim.
Jesus taught using stories.
Exactly,
so he was the best storyteller ever, and parables, and it's a great teaching tool. Well, that's great. Well, stay tuned as we get some more interviews talking about discipleship and really what Paul meant in 2 Timothy 2:2 when he told Timothy to raise up faithful men who can go on and teach others these same biblical truths. So stay tuned. God bless.
One of the discipleship programs that Hope Builders is using that I've seen a direct result is through their women's ministries. And they're focused on developing and training young and old women that are in the communities, either pastors' wives or other women in the community that have never had an opportunity to really learn how to study the Bible, or even how to tell their neighbor about the good news of Christ. They've really been able to focus in on that particular need through the Lydia Circle.
Hope Builders also has a program called Bibles for Believers, where they put Bibles into the hands of Christians who do not have Bibles. I've seen many Bibles that the edges are torn and tattered. They may not have the whole first book of the Bible. Genesis is missing, parts of Revelation are missing. And they put Bibles into the hands of these people who are Christians and are on their journey of growing spiritually with Jesus.
2 Timothy 2:2, understanding of disciple making, it's taking someone, the men, pastors, women, you name it, and training them so much so in the Lord that they can find a faithful person behind them, beside them, with them. And they can actually duplicate that same process into the third and fourth generation. And it's up to us to make sure that there's a process in place that will allow the fourth generation, the aunts, the uncles, the moms, the pops who are out in the cornfields and out in the markets, to be trained just like the head was. I mean, that's Ephesians 4. And so that's the bent that Hope Builders is taking, is how can we train trainers, not just train pastors?
Discipleship is very important to Hope Builders because we can't just bring people to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. We have to disciple them into a personal relationship with Jesus. And as we do that with Hope Builders, They have a desire to see these people grow. That's all a part of discipleship, is because once these people grow in their knowledge of Jesus Christ and in the Word, they're going to go out in return and they're going to make disciples. Discipleship is the key to salvation, that from salvation they grow into a strong believer and in return go out and share the gospel, and they go out in return and disciple people.
Making disciples who make disciples who make disciples. To the third and fourth generation. Our main model of ministry and Hope Builders is called the hub model, and in Zambia, for instance, we have 100 hubs. Now, a hub is represented by a hub leader who his objective is, over the course of 4 to 6 years, is to train 40 other men and plant 40 churches. The men, the women, the young people, they begin making disciples, win people to Christ, love them in the Lord, teach them the things of God, help each other grow and become God's ambassadors around the world.